Joining us now, Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia. Senator, sorry for the couple-minute delay. Great to have you with us.
John, it's great to be back. So we do have to invest more in infrastructure, don't we, so the internet doesn't go down?
A little bit, especially in the Hampton Roads area. That's why we need the pipeline so we can get the energy. And I know we're not exactly on the same page on that, but it's going to bring a lot of good jobs. Senator, first of all, I want to thank you for joining us. I always appreciate the dialogue. We don't always agree, but there is one issue.
Talking, and I always enjoy it too,
We
John.
do, sir. We do. And look, I and my audience appreciate the fact that you'll go on and talk to anybody and engage in a dialogue with your constituents. And I appreciate that. But here's something, Senator, that we really agree on that is keeping me up at night. President Trump campaigned vigorously on getting us out of these Middle Eastern wars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, he turns over troop levels to General Mattis. Generals always want more troops. We got 4,000 additional troops going into Afghanistan. Under what authority? No AUMF, no declaration of war, nothing. Nobody will bring it up. And so isn't this Congress's responsibility, sir?
John, it is, and you've really hit like kind of a mini obsession with me that I brought with me when I came to the Senate. I was tough on President Obama for engaging the U.S. in military action in Libya without a vote of Congress. I was tough on him for going on the offense against ISIS, even though I wanted to support it and introduced an authorization to support it, but starting that without a vote of Congress. And I'm equally tough on President Trump, who's just continuing what Presidents Bush and Obama did. So here's what we have in the first 6 months of the Trump administration. We've had first ground combat death of a U.S. troop in Syria. We've had the first ground combat death of a U.S. troop in Yemen. We've had the first combat death of a U.S. troop in Africa for 25 years in Somalia. We have shot missiles against the Syrian government after they used chemical weapons. We've downed a Syrian plane. And as you point out, the president has said, the generals can decide how many troops are added in Afghanistan. So we need to go back and revisit the 2001 authorization that basically has become a blank check for the president can go to war anywhere against anyone with whatever force they choose. That's just not the way we're supposed to do it. So Jeff Flake and I, Republican from Arizona, we've crafted an authorization. This is my third effort to do so. My first one got a positive vote in Foreign Relations Committee, but died on the floor. My second one with Flake got no interest, but we've now passed one, and my chair on Foreign Relations, Bob Corker, agrees. It's now time to do this. We had a hearing the other day. We heard from witnesses from both the Obama and Bush administrations who said the way the authorization is currently being used is completely outside the realm of how it was intended. It's time to do a new one. So I think we're finally getting some momentum, and some of it's because it's a new administration and these problems are growing all over the globe, and some of it's because of a concern that President Trump is doing things like engaging in military action against Syria, for which there's really no justification. There's no legal authority whatsoever.
Well, look, Senator, no question about it. I was the Trump chairman of Virginia. I didn't do this so we could start another war in Afghanistan or shoot Syrian planes out of the sky. So I don't know what we're doing here. Walter Jones, Republican from North Carolina, has a complement bill in the House, Bill 1664. He's trying to do the same thing. But look, Republicans are in leadership. They have to bring this up. And here's my thing. Go ahead and have your argument. Go ahead and make your case one way or the other. Bring up your bills. And if you want to vote no, vote no. But they don't even want to address it, Senator, because they don't want to go on the record. Is
John,
that not
and
what
you're
your
right
job
about that.
is?
And I will say this is mostly a lack of backbone in Congress. So while I was critical of President Obama and now President Trump for acting without authorization, the real problem is Congress. It's Congress that has the power, and if the president is acting without authorization, well, it's up to us to do something. Members of Congress don't want to go on the record. You're absolutely right. But let me take a little bit of my criticism back, because now that I've drafted 3 authorizations. The first 2 were specifically about ISIS, and the one that Jeff Flake and I have now would kind of combine ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and give some definition and limit to it. what I realize is one of the reasons this is hard is when we think about war, we tend to think about war between nations. And a lot of our doctrines about war, the Geneva Conventions, they're accepted by nations. And when you declare war against a nation, you don't have to define the geography. You've declared a war against a nation. You know what the geography is. Crafting an authorization to deal with a non-state terrorist group like ISIS, whose space is shrinking, but then they're doing one-off actions all over the globe, it's a little more complicated. You have to think about issues like geography, duration, who is an associated force. You have to think about it in a different way than we're used to. So one of the reasons, the main reason this has been hard is the lack of backbone issue. But another reason it's been hard is because non-states are different. But non-states using violence to achieve their end, they're here to stay. This is going to be a phenomenon of the 21st century we're going to live with, and we have to figure out the right way to have Congress stay involved in authorizing and then exercising oversight over war against these non-state actors.
Well, it's your constitutional duty and authority to do this, so you need to keep fighting for this, and I'm glad that you engaged the Republican Center again from Arizona. As I said, there's a compliment bill in the House. Hopefully we can get this forward. But, if the Republican leaders, if McConnell and Ryan don't take this up, you can't do a damn thing. I mean, that's
right.
Just the bottom line. They have to bring this up, and they have to fight for this. I want to get time for one more question.
Shoot.
The Senate health care, Obamacare, replace, repeal, half and half, menagerie, whatever it is, draft came out last night. I know you had a chance to glance at it. I'm happy I made you laugh. I know you had a chance to glance at it. Just your quick takes.
So here first, this process absolutely stinks because what we're being told, now it can still change, what we're being told is this bill, a draft is out. There's going to be more of a draft today. Won't see the full bill to next week. And they want to vote on it next week without any committee hearings, without hearing from a hospital, a patient, a doctor, an insurance company, a family that can't afford rising premiums. Normally, we would hold hearings. When the Affordable Care Act passed, just as an example, John, my committee, I'm on the Health Committee, Health, Education, Labor, Pension. It's one of the two committees that dealt with it. Just the Health Committee had 55 hearings on the bill, and the bill was passed on the Senate floor, as you know, partisan. No Republicans voted for it, but Republicans successfully offered 145 amendments to the bill that were accepted. There was a real process so that the bill could be shaped. What they're saying they're going to do is put the bill out next week and then force a vote by Friday. That is a really, really bad idea for folks. The right way to do it would be, if you want to draft a bill in private, well, that's how a lot of bills get drafted. There's nothing wrong with drafting one in private. But then what you do is put it in the committees. And they should put it in the committees, Health and Finance, which are run by Republicans, so it's not like Democrats can steamroll anybody, but at least have a couple of hearings about the bill. And then let Democrats propose amendments. I've got some health care bills in that I actually think would be improvements of the existing system or improvements of what the ours would put out. Let me make my case for an amendment and maybe convince some people that I've got something to offer. I am a committee member, by the way, but they're telling us right now it's going to be no hearings, no public input, force it to a vote in 2 or 3 days. And if we do that, I will guarantee you there will be some significant unintended consequences that people didn't think of, and we'll be right back at the table trying to fix this 6 months from now. So why don't we have a meaningful discussion now?
You're right. I think the way they're doing it is a bad idea. You have to get this out in the open. And look, Republicans have 52 votes in the Senate. Even if they lose 2, they've got Mike Pence. They need 50. But you need to debate this out in the open. I mean, we went through this in the House. The first bill they had was an absolute disaster. We were opposed to it. We trashed it. You got a better bill. Might not be the best bill, but it was better than the first one they put out. So right. I think you're right on that. Hey, just so my audience knows, I know you have to hang up. The bill on the AUMF Center that you're co-sponsoring with Jeff Flake, what is the SB number of the bill?
You know what? What's the resolution number on our Senate bill? I'm sitting here with Miriam. I always know the bill by the title, and I don't know the number. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have Miriam text your team the Senate resolution number, so you'll have it within 5 minutes.
Okay, so thank
Jeff
you.
Flake
I
is a
appreciate that.
very sharp
we have
guy.
a lot of,
We've worked really carefully together on this, and we'll text you the Senate resolution number.
We appreciate it because I have a lot of hardcore political junkie listeners that is going to go right to find out what that building exact wording is.
Good.
Senator, I appreciate your being with us. We're live today in Washington, D.C. By the way, in the Trump administration, just so you know, we're not getting anything done. We'll have you back, though.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I'll look forward to coming back. And, hey, congrats on adding new channels, new stations. Talk to you soon.